All the way from the Ridge in High Ridge, Missouri, this is Huggy Kindness at Huggy Kindness Studios on Tea Time, a Cup of LovingKindness podcast series here at Loving Kindness Land, a community garden where we can, be seen in the light for who we are and really come together to create a space to share out on things that we are experiencing, the challenges that we're facing, and the successes that we're celebrating together. Thank you to singer-songwriter Shannon Curtis for your beautiful song, I Know, as the theme song of Tea Time, a Cup of LovingKindness podcast series. It's wonderful getting to play it on air each time that we get to share space here at Tea Time and Loving Kindness Land. And it just fills my heart knowing that I get to share the wonderful magic that you create in your songwriting and the words and the music and the energy that you share out to the world. And every time that we play it here, we are just honoring that wonderful magic. And I just want to say thank you so much for allowing this beautiful song to be a part of the show. Love you, Shannon. All the best. And today, we're talking about relationships. We were originally going to be talking about grief, but I sillily forgot my little memory stick for my camera. So we decided to do a audio recording for today's show. And I am here with my good friend, Toni. And Toni is going to help me talk about relationships. And we're just going to have a candid conversation about that. So welcome, Toni, on the show. It's so great to have you. Sorry again for not getting the camera up and rolling, but we will definitely get that going next week.
You definitely will. Hi, I'm Toni. Huggy, thanks for having me. Like you said previously, we were going to discuss grief because we know we have a lot of people there grieving. And I told Huggy that therapy is needed in a lot of community and cultures. I have my background is healthcare. I was a technician on the floor since I was 21, so I have 20 years in healthcare. I recently graduated in 2019 with my degree in healthcare administration. That way I could advocate more. I learned the insurance side, see how we can incorporate therapy, see how we can treat the body as a whole instead of just treating symptoms. Just from my own personal research, I've seen that therapy has a tremendous outcome on a positive side. So I started talking to Huggy about stuff. He told me about this podcast, and I'm happy to be here, and I'm happy to join the podcast.
Yeah, welcome. And so, today's show, we're just going to be diving into relationships. As we, started our conversation and planning the grief episode, we kind of drifted into just a fun conversation about, relationships that we're going through and different ways that, we've dated and experienced love and experienced being hurt in these experiences and how each of us have kind of moved through those experiences to continue on and to learn from each of them and to improve our communication and find other ways to love in more wholehearted ways that align with our values and where we're moving from a state of integrity and trying to build something that is deeper and rooted in those values and the integrity that we want to live with.
What I'm saying is enjoy each moment, even if you get into a situation or a friendship or something like that, I take the experience and enjoy each moment, even if that person's not for you. Because you might date multiple people throughout your life, but take all the good and the bad. So when you do find the person that you're supposed to be with, it won't be too much tweaking that's got to be done, because when you try to force something, it doesn't work. You'll change for a person, you'll do this and you'll do that, you'll do this, and it still won't work because it's never meant to work.
Yeah, and like I was sharing before, He's carefully move that here.
Yeah.
A little bit closer between both of us.
Yeah.
And so, like what I was sharing before is, you know, I was told by a friend when I was kind of experiencing some lows and not feeling lovable, that I, you know, something was broken about me. I, you know, just was defective and I wasn't capable of being loved by someone else. And she talked to me on my drive out to work, and she was like, you know, just picture yourself on a train, like you're going to a train station, and all these people that you love that you haven't met yet are at that train station waiting for you with signs, just ready to celebrate all of who you are. And you're here and you're celebrating all of who they are. And so you're connected. You just haven't met yet. Or it's been a while since you've, you know, connected. You've seen each other in another time. You just haven't seen each other in this lifetime. And so it was a really powerful way for me to kind of meditate and shift my kind of thought patterns, and how I kind of show up presently when I'm dealing with kind of that pain of like not feeling lovable. And I can then recognize, okay, the people that I'm around right now might not love me in that way, but there are people waiting at the train station for me that love me in that way. And it really helped me to create balance and not feel so depressed from the experience. And so I love that, like, we're talking about this, because I think a lot of people that I've experienced in life recently share how much they are missing that space in themselves of feeling loved and feeling lovable by others. And, you know, I just wish here on Tea Time and in Loving Kindness Land that we can, you know, help people find that worth and find other ways of feeling that love, even if physically right here in this moment it doesn't look a certain way.
Right. And I feel like we were talking about, do you think we're in 2023, so grandparents and things like that, they stayed together longer. We're in 2023 where people, like we said, they have these poly relationships, and we have social media now. Social media is one of the biggest pack of shit, because it makes people, you know, they see people on Facebook, oh, they're in a lovely relationship. It looks all like so pretty and pictures and everything, and people feed off of that, and that's what they're wanting, you know. So I want someone to love. I want somebody to love me. I want to love somebody. They see all these pretty pictures. They see like this fairy tale, and deep down inside in that house, nothing is like what they post.
Yeah.
So like my grandparents, my parents, they didn't have all of that. They had more like supportive friends that wanted to see them stay together. They had the church, because back then, you know, at a church, if you got divorced, you were frowned upon. That wasn't a popular thing. So we're just in a different time zone now with everything. Like I said, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat. It's more ways for people to communicate, sneak around. And I just feel like a lot of people lack honesty on what they want. They might want you for the moment, for a need that they have, instead of being honest and letting you know.
Yeah.
You know? And people just don't value your time.
Yeah. And I think speaking out to anyone that's, you know, looking for those really wholehearted relationships that are in alignment with, you know, your true values and integrity and things like that, like, you know, I hope that, you know, through today's podcast, you know, that you're able to recognize that there are people that connect in that way, that care about the values, put the priority on the values and the integrity, because you're not alone. And there are many of us out there that want that and want to honor that. And when you're going and seeking these relationships and dating or trying to find that experience and that person that, if you feel is right for you, a lot of the pre-work in getting there is really discovering what values matter to you most. What does your integrity look like? What are you willing to, uphold, and what are you willing to give up? And, really setting those clear boundaries for yourself before you're going out there and dating, to give yourself the best opportunity to connect with the people that align with your values, that, aren't going out and having other conversations, beyond you, if you're wanting monogamy, or really upholding honesty if honesty is an important value to you, or someone that just is deeply listening to you with compassion and caring for you in ways that you need, and you're able to express those needs in a way that when you go out and you are searching for these people, you're actually calling those people to you, and hopefully you can actually meet some wonderful people that align with those experiences.
I do believe it's people. I really do believe it's people out there, and part of it, you got to get honest with yourself on what you want. And I know this seems a little bit nerdish, but have like a list and ask questions. I think sometimes people date people off of looks or finances or stability, but they're not looking at the person as a whole, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And they get into some situation that they're like, how the hell did I get here? Type thing. And then you don't want to find yourself being attached to somebody. Attachment and love is two different things. I think people get that mixed up.
Yeah, and we were talking about that before, and just some of the funny ways that it comes out, when you're trying to date and figure out like if this person is into you, and how, if you do, experience attachment issues, how that, shows up in that dating process. And then like we were talking a little bit, of like where maybe some of these, attachments came from our past. And I think, overall, as we're considering, like just relationships in general, but also like if we're wanting, intimate relationship or something, doing a lot of that self-work before we're going and placing ourselves in these situations, so that we don't get hurt in a way, or kind of end up in a situation that we don't want for ourselves by mistake. And by, being proactive, I think you can really set yourself up to win. It still probably won't be pretty. Like, it's still a learning curve. Like, there's a lot of different things that happen in human engagements. But I think there are things you can do with your personal development, to set yourself up to win, with communication and setting healthy boundaries for yourself. Communication
is huge. You remember I told you that I had a problem with, it was always you. It was always me putting something off on the other person, and me taking very minimal accountability. Like I'm saying it on the podcast. Hell, I didn't want to take any accountability for my actions in this. And that's the wrong way to communicate. I had to go back to redirect to the I messages because I allowed me to take accountability for my behavior.
Okay.
In the part, like I told you, I'm a very poor communicator. I would hit the door in a minute. I'm out of, like, I don't want to hear it. I'm out. I'm going to go straight to the door. And that's just a defense thing. I don't like to argue a lot. I want my point heard. but I don't want to argue. So if that makes sense. So my defense mechanism was leaving. And as far as like attachments, like I told you, like my parents, I had the world. Like they're very good parents. If something was to happen to them, I would want them to be my parents again if I came back in another life or they came back. But as far as like hugging me or telling me every day that they love me, no, that didn't happen. I knew that they loved me by the way that they cared about me. And so getting into my first real serious relationship, I was about 17, 16 years old. Back then, you shouldn't call it a relationship, but to me, that's what it was. So I was dating this guy, and like guys will say anything to get to what they want. So like a year goes by, and he's like showering me with gifts and stuff. I'm very spoiled, so he knew how to get to me. And he started using this "I love you" shit. Took me down like a bad tunnel because I'm like, oh yeah, he loves me. So what did I do? I lost my virginity to him. What did he do? A week or two later, he stopped talking to me, which caused me a big wall of trauma. And it caused me to not trust anybody because I thought everybody was out to get me. And then I didn't like the feeling of this person disassociated themselves with me. So here I am alone.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it all through like, 20s and stuff like that, I was kind of partying, doing what I wanted to do. But as far as like a meaningful relationship, I wouldn't even say that my marriage was a meaningful relationship. It was an experience. And people ask me all the time, do you think that you ever experienced true love? I mean, I can't answer that. Because I'm like, well, how the hell is this supposed to feel? Yeah. Everybody that I love, they find a way to burn you. So like, how the hell is it supposed to, like, I don't know will I ever experience true love? I don't know. I'm getting better with communicating now. I will say that I haven't pew out the door.
Yeah.
But I have those moments.
I think sometimes, that is like a hard thing, to say because we don't know like what the future is going to hold. But coming back to the train station, kind of vision that I was told by a friend, it's creating these intentional, visions and statements of hope that, keep us going from moment to moment. And, I think there's a quote that says, it's not seeing is believing, believing is seeing. And so, we can really create our experience from the beliefs that we hold and the thoughts that we create. And so, in our creativity of what thoughts we're choosing, we can create a different experience. And although maybe I don't have someone with me right now that I'm, intimately or physically close with, like on a more spiritual level, I know that they are there, and maybe I don't see them in this lifetime, but I see them in another lifetime. And I know that sounds like really big and like profound, but it helps me to live and like move, through these experiences that can be really painful. And it helps me focus on, me and taking care of me and celebrating me, while I know that those people that like love me are at the train station loving me too. Because I, for so long, have been focused on the people here in the physical realm that are right around me that do, sometimes burn me and don't like love me like fully. And so, I'm basing my whole self-worth on these people around me that aren't celebrating me fully. And so what I started doing, and maybe it's a delusional, tactic, but I see it as a spiritual vision, an intentional vision and I can feel it. I can feel the love of these people, at another point in time, you know, I haven't got to them yet. I actually do care, and I care about them too. And so it takes me kind of out of this like self-pity from the reality sometimes that I'm in with what people are, you know, dealing to me in their cards that they're sharing. But I have to like just separate from that because that's their stuff that they're going through, you know? And that's hard to do. Like, I don't want to just make this comment here on the show and say it in a way that's like, oh, this is like so easy. Like, you just like think this thing and like vision like this train station and you're like, oh, like, you know, you don't feel hurt or you don't cry. Like, no, I still cry. Like, I still hurt. I still want that love and those experiences. It still hurts when these people around me like don't love me or don't, you know, share or celebrate me in a way that I would want to be celebrated. And at the same time, I implement this practice of trying to envision something greater so that I can move through that pain, so that I can still hope for something better than what I'm experiencing.
I think one thing I want to make, we were talking about receiving love or giving love. My whole thing, like my biggest fear is if I really experience true love in this lifetime, will I know how to accept it? Because you can get what you want. You can be blessed with what you want. But can you accept it? I find that a lot of times things go very well for me. And because of past things that I haven't dealt with, I sabotage things because of my deeply rooted trust issues. You know, I find myself sabotaging things. And it's really not fair to the other person.
For you, like what, in knowing that, you know, and knowing that there's this trauma and it's deeply rooted, like what has worked for you, or like what are some like things that you could kind of maybe foresee, like for yourself and maybe for some others that are listening, that could help them, could help you just engage in a different way, maybe overcome, maybe, you know, bypass the trauma to, you know, just courageously just take another step in a different direction that offers you a different experience with love where you can accept it?
I think that if I continue to talk about it, I even said I was going to start journaling, continue seeing the therapist about it. Because like I said, it's not fair to the other person. It's not fair to me. Things are going to happen in your life that you have no control over. People are going to do things to you that you don't have control over. Everybody's not a bad person. Everybody's not a great person. I am dealing with it. Hopefully you have a person that you get like blessed with, a person that kind of understands what you're going through, because that makes it a lot easier if you can communicate across to them, hey, look, I have really bad trust issues. I am fucked up.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know that up front that I'm fucked up because of these trust issues. 9 times out of 10, they'll try to work with you if they're a really caring person. But then it's like...
Can I help you reframe something?
Yeah.
Okay, instead of, you know, speaking about ourselves in a I am statement that is, can be self-destructive, shifting it to, you know, I had fucked up experiences, or I lived through, you know, some fucked up experiences.
Yeah.
But you're so much more than being fucked up. And I want others on this that are listening to recognize that, you know, words are really powerful and they have a lot of energy behind them, depending on what words we choose.
That's true.
And you, your soul is so much more than that experience that happened. And so what's going to help you and what's going to help others, you know, that are listening to accept the love is, you know, recognizing that that soul has a bigger thing that can't really be described. Like, you are so much more than being fucked up.
Right.
So you lived maybe, like, I live with bipolar disorder. I'm not bipolar. And so it helps me to have more opportunities because I'm so much more than bipolar. Like, bipolar is like a piece, right? Like, it's something I live with. There's qualities to it that actually are things that I enjoy, and they help me. And when I get the medicine right, I am able to live a very functional, life. But I'm living with it. I'm not, so I'm so much more than bipolar. And so I offer that, as a way to you, but also to the people that are listening, is like, each of you have so much, more than maybe these tough experiences that you've gone through. And maybe that can also be a way that you can kind of start moving towards that level of acceptance for love.
Yeah, you're right. Because the experiences that I've had, and they haven't been really bad, but they were bad enough to the point where they infected the inner me.
Yeah.
Wasn't anything to do with abuse or physical violence. I think mentally and how things intercept in your soul can really mess with you for a long time. And when you're younger, you don't get it. The younger self of you don't get it. Because it's like, I can find somebody else. I can date somebody else. I can have somebody I hook up with. The younger you are thinking like that, the older you start to want stability versus fun.
Yeah.
Like, a whole bunch of stuff starts to change. And you're like, whoa, what's happening? Whoa. I had 3 light bulbs go off, like 30, 35, 40, all like within 5-year periods. Like you start to want a little bit more that's leading up to something serious. It's like, will I find the other person that wants something serious? Or because a lot of people are deeply wounded and they will not admit that they're hurt.
Yeah. Or
that they've been hurt. Instead, they will wear masks, and I guess that's where narcissistic kind of behavior comes out.
And I think this is too, like, not, when we're coming back to like attachment, like just enjoying the moment with the person and not feeling like so much that there needs to be a label or something, because there's so much that happens in time, and like, as we move through these, like, as we move from second to second, like, with this person and we get to know them more, we learn things about each other. And maybe, second one, we're like infatuated and we like want everything to fucking do with them. And then, second 3, we realize that they don't, put the toilet paper on the roll the same way that I like it, and it pisses me off. But you learn things about each other, and that's relationships, and I think the beauty of, and coming back to something you shared before, like, about like social media and stuff, and like, it's portrayed in a Polaroid picture, like, that this is what it is for a moment in time. And so, like, I've been, kind of, talking to my sister and her boyfriend a lot, the last year or so since they've been dating, and just have seen, the hills and valleys that they've gone through. And it's real, it's like, it's not the Polaroid picture that's shown on social media. It's like, they have like actual hills and valleys they're moving through. And, it's not that it's a bad relationship. It's just, it's a relationship. It's a human relationship. There's dynamics that happen as a human. We are dynamic beings. Shit happens. Things happen at work. Things happen just in our life with our health. So like, they're moving through all that, and they're moving through it all together, and they're trying to still learn about each other, as they're doing it, and learning how to support each other and learning how to support themselves while they're doing it. And it's cool to see like from the outside. And now that like I'm sharing this now and like reflecting on it, like I'd love to share this with my sister and let her know that, you know, like I see how challenging that can be, but how empowering it is for me to see it, that it is something that people can do, you know, that they really care about each other. And even though shit hits the fan and it really like gets off for a minute, not in like, it's mostly like situational things like with work or health, his, you know, her boyfriend's health. But it's not like they're like, you know, abusing each other or anything like that. And so like when I like see that they can still support each other through the chaos of just life, it's like, I'm just like, damn, like that is so cool. Like that's really inspiring. And I think for people that are listening, for us, like it's something that can inspire others to recognize that like you too can experience that. And there's all different kinds of relationships in this world that we're in, and practice, you know, in all of these relationships, communication and learning how to be with each other and support each other. I'm doing this right now at work, and, you know, working with my team and finding ways to support each other and support myself while I'm here, so that we can be a total team, you know, and there's a lot of new people kind of here and people shifting and things like that. And like, as like I'm learning myself as a new person, just really trying to figure that, you know, piece out, like, and I know I'm rambling at the moment, but what I'm really trying to say is like, it comes down to these like, it comes down to these moment to moment experiences with people. That's really what we have, are these moments. And if we are looking to improve relationships, then, you know, being in the moment is really where we're going to find the greatest success for ourselves, in doing that.
You are right. You have to enjoy each moment, and healthy communication, healthy boundaries. That's another thing that has to be said in relationships, healthy boundaries, because you can, I say this, we're giving 100% when we wake up in the morning. Our spiritual selves, we're filled with 100%. And if you're pouring half into the person and half into yourself, that's a lot, you know? And you can easily drain yourself or lose yourself in the midst of trying to keep your partner or a friendship or a situationship or a relationship afloat. Because eventually you will lose, because you would just crash, and you don't want to wake up with resentment. If something doesn't work, you don't want to end up resenting a person for, you know, wasting your time, or you're pouring into so much. So I just highly encourage people, you know, pour in what you can afford to pour in without taking from yourself.
Yeah.
You know, that's one life lesson that I did learn. Don't pour in half. You know, pour in what you can afford to pour in from yourself, because what you're pouring in, you can't get back.
Yeah.
It may not always be reciprocated.
Yeah.
And I think people don't get that part. You know, they think it's going to be automatically reciprocated. And it may not be reciprocated. It may not come back to you in the way that you feel that it should come back to you. So only pour in what you can afford to pour in. Yeah. So don't go full blast. Just, you know, pour in 50%, and then you're left. You're feeling down. You're feeling sad. You know, you don't get a text back. You know, all this type of stuff. And I put so much into this. Only pour in what you can afford to lose. And I always encourage people, do more good, because good comes back to you.
Yeah.
If if they're being mean and malicious towards you, you still have to do good out here in the world by other people.
Yeah.
So that way, good comes back to you.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, cutting the cord. And I mean, if you find a way to cut the cord and be done with it, you know?
Yeah. I think gratitude is a great way to do it. I think gratitude is a beautiful way to honor the person, and it helps bring you peace as well, because, you know, sometimes we have resentment towards this individual, you know, or maybe, I don't know, maybe we're just struggling to find that peace and loving them fully. But if you can practice gratitude for this whole person, you know, a complete celebration of who they are, and all their quirks and weaknesses and strengths and all the things about them, then it's a practice of gratitude. It's a practice of radical acceptance, and you have an easier time loving. You have an easier time accepting them where they are. You have an easier time just kind of being with this person and with yourself. And so, like, when you're talking about, you know, giving 100% and then, like, giving, you know, so much to one and so much to the other, like, in doing that practice, you are actually able to fill yourself up more by reducing the amount of stress that you're experiencing in the situation. And so it's interesting. It just kind of changes the actual, like, playing field a little bit, to where you actually have more strength, more endurance to engage in the relationship in a way that honors the other person and really honors you. And when you're practicing gratitude like that, you're also doing it for yourself. So, you know, you're celebrating all of you, all of your strengths, all of your weaknesses, all of your, you know, things that make you who you are. But, you know, I've loved having you on the show today. I think this is a beautiful topic to share with people. You know, I look forward to us, you know, meeting again next week, and diving into grief and what that means, you know, for so many of us. You know, like, as humans, we all experience grief, and how we can maybe find some ways to help each other, and support each other in those tough times, and help each other find resources and things that we need to move through that and get through those things that probably will never, you know, the hurt will always be there. It's just, how do we move through it differently, you know? And I think, you know, both of us, you know, have some experience that we can share with the world, and I'm just very grateful that you're here and that you're so excited to participate. It's been fun talking about relationships with you, and I invite you back on the show anytime you want to join.
I will be here next week.
All right. Go team.
Go team.